Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
You're even tall in the chair.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's I can squeeze down.
So, Governor, let's talk politics. On Wednesday, you signed an executive order to impose a moratorium on the death penalty in California, essentially suspending it for the duration of your term as governor, which is a very controversial move. Why did you decide to do that?
Look, we have more people on death row than any other state in the nation. We have more than anyone else in the Western Hemisphere. 737 people. Just put it in perspective, if you were me, I would be asked to sign off on one death every single day for 2+ years, one a week for 14 years, knowing that at least 4% of those 30+ people were innocent. We had a person 26 years on death row that was just exonerated last year. I can't in good conscience do that. I just can't do that.
I have to say, as a former prosecutor, I agree with your decision, because I know how flawed the system is. And I believe that one innocent person going to death is just not worth it.
Yeah.
That being said, 53% of Californians voted against abolishing the death penalty in 2016. And in fact, they also voted to speed up the process. So what do you say to the people of your state who feel that your executive order is basically going against the will of the people?
The will of the people also allows for the governor to reprieve, to allow for a moratorium. I'm afforded, pursuant to the Constitution, the ability to make this determination, to make this decision. Look, I don't do this lightly. I don't do it flippantly. I have deep respect and admiration for people who have a different point of view. But at the end of the day, when I'm sitting there talking to my kids, I have 4 young kids, and my daughter says to me, "You teach us not to kill." And yet, here I am, in a premeditated way, killing other people on behalf of the state. I just can't do that.
What if the DNA proves that the person, a heinous criminal, has committed like child rape or assault? I mean, something so horrible, and it matches in the DNA.
We don't rape someone that's raped. Why do we kill someone that's killed? Look, the bottom line is we can punish people. I'm not suggesting people that do things that are heinous and outrageous don't deserve to be punished. They absolutely do, but there's other ways to punish people.
But what would you say
than to put them to death?
There's a difference in people just disagreeing with the policy and people that have lost someone they love because of a monster. A serial killer, a mass shooter.
That's right.
I know you've probably had these conversations with family members. Speak to them right now, the parents, someone that said, my baby was now gone because of someone who is a complete monster, and now you're going to let them continue to live. What do you say to that parent?
I had 12 of those instances in the last week. Nothing more difficult, nothing more painful than to try to put myself in the shoes of someone else. For the grace of God, go any of us to be in that position. Remarkably, though, I met a number of parents that said the following: you don't have the right in my daughter's name to take another life. You will not be doing this for our family. She said, you'll be doing this to our family. We are done with violence. We need to move on. And so good people have different points of view. It's difficult. Another parent said the opposite, said you have responsibility to eradicate evil.
But what do you tell that the parent, though, that still disagrees? Says, I don't have closure.
What do you say to the one that says you have to eradicate evil?
I literally said there's nothing I can do to bring your child back. There's nothing I can say to change your point of view. The fact is, though, I'm entrusted to do something much broader than just address one individual case. I've got to address a system that is race-based system of tremendous injustice for black and brown people. It's just a fact. Look, I mean, you've heard this before, but it's the truth, and it goes deep to the issues that we've been debating and you guys have been talking about here as it relates to what's going on with wealth and privilege as it relates to admissions in colleges. The fact is, you're better off in this country, you've heard this before, of being rich and guilty. You're treated better if you're rich and guilty than if you're poor and innocent in the criminal justice system. It's really true.
There's no question about that.
And Paul Manafort, all of this. And so, look, we've had 164 people that have been on death row that have been exonerated. 164.
Just in the state of California.
No, in this country.
In the country?
In just this country since 1973. The fact is, there are literally hundreds of people on death row right now that are there for crimes they did not commit. And again, it's not an intellectual conversation. I have to sign off on that execution. And in an effort to do that, you have to dig deep. And this becomes a moral issue, it's a very emotional issue, and it's very, to be spot on, to be able to look at someone, the victim family, that says, I need this for closure, and not provide that. This is tough.
Can we talk about another issue which disproportionately affects your state, which is immigration? When Donald Trump declared a national emergency over the border, you withdrew the National Guard, the California National Guard, and you said to him, we'll see you in court, which I think it has, in fact, already begun to happen. So what do we do about the border? As a border state, what is the solution, do you think?
Well, let me just say this. I pulled the National Guard because I didn't want to be part of this political theater. I pulled the National Guard because we do not have a national emergency. I pulled the National Guard because I wanted to push back against Trump, as we have 47 lawsuits against the Trump administration. Not because we wake up every morning choosing to advance those suits, but because we stand up for our principles and our values. I represent the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. We practice pluralism.
You do.
We're a universal state, and I want to have the backs of the citizens of my state, and I want to put a human face on this issue. And the human face, for me, are those asylum seekers coming here legally, through the ports of entry, legally coming in with their children, that seek nothing more than the things we take for granted in this country. And I'm not going to step over them on the streets and sidewalks. I'm not going to diminish them by talking down to them or past to them. I want to elevate the human spirit. That's what California represents, and I think that's what America represents at its core. We reject Trump and Trump.
You know, you and I agree politically on probably nothing. And instead of, thank you for one person clapping for me. But you know what? When I knew you were coming on, I love your wife, because your wife, she has this incredible documentary called Misrepresentation that came out when I was in my early 20s, and it's actually a documentary that I've told other women in media to watch, because it focuses on when I'm sitting here, we're sitting here, and a woman says something that's aggressive or political, or I ask you a hard political question, it will be covered in a different way than if a man asks you a hard political question. That documentary came out a while ago. I don't think that much has changed.
No.
What do you think the problem is, and the problem that your wife so duly focused on in her documentary?
First of all, thank you for acknowledging. I married a rock star. I'm so blessed by my wife.
You're a rock star.
No, hardly, but she really is, because she's getting the core of all of these issues, which goes to the issues of toxic masculinity, which goes to the issue of hyper masculinity, which goes to explaining a lot of the politics that exist today. But what she has fundamentally posited is the following. I think it's a response to your question. That is, we don't value in society what we feminize. And what we feminize is care, collaboration, and empathy. And think about a society that doesn't value care, doesn't value empathy and collaboration. And that goes to the core of the issues we're having in this country. And by the way, the biggest issue we're having in this country, the crisis of boys. The fact is, I would argue the most dangerous words in the English language are man up, be a man. Don't be a sissy. And we hear that all the time. And what happens is that young child puts a mask on and their face grows in it to become how society expects them to behave. And what we have as a society is a crisis of suicides, disproportionately men, issues related to dropouts and binge drinking, all these issues, one thing in common, including mass shootings, men.
Well, would you tell her for me? I hope she doesn't follow up to it, because I don't think that much has changed, and it's a really important documentary. And I'm glad I saw it when I was in my early 20s.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you.
Yes. You're going to be running for president?
No.
You.
It's good not to have a presidential candidate.
Not this time around.
2024 pick.
Thanks to Governor Gavin Newsom, and we'll be right back.